The essential guide to getting around Mexico City without a car. Mexico City has an amazing public transit system, from buses to trains, bikes, and even cable cars. And a lot of trips cost just 5 pesos. That's 28 US cents. We were warned that public transit in Mexico City was dangerous and crowded, but after a month of using it, I wonder if the people giving those warnings have even used it in the last few years. There have been a lot of improvements, from a new cable car gondola system, electric trolleys on elevated platforms, and even new double-decker buses. Mexico City simply has better public transit than we have seen anywhere in the US or Canada. Now, we had a lot of trouble figuring out all of the different ways to get around, so we decided to make this video to help you begin your trip with more knowledge than we had. Plus, we are big supporters of using public transportation. Mexico City simply has too many cars. Taking public transportation ensures you don't add to the traffic and pollution that Mexico City struggles with. Plus, it is very affordable and helps keep your mind sharp too by learning something new. We found it a lot of fun to figure it all out, kind of like solving a puzzle. The first thing to know is that Mexico City has many ways to get around, and they are often owned by different unrelated companies. Don't worry though, we've got you covered. Step 1. Get an integrated mobility card, also called a Metro card. Once you're ready to head out, you need to get yourself a Metro card, also known as the Integrated Mobility Card. On the back of the card, it shows you the modes of transportation where you can use your card. The orange M symbol is for the Metro, also known as the subway system. It only costs 5 pesos to ride. To ride a subway in New York City costs 10 times this amount. The turquoise symbols are used for cable buses, also known as cable cars or gondolas, which were launched in the summer of 2021. The green symbols are used for the Ecobici bike system. The red symbols are used for Metrobuses, the red fast buses that run in their own lanes. And the blue symbols are used for the Trolebus, also known as cable cars or trolleys. They run on electric cables and are fast and quiet. Understanding these symbols and what they represent is key to not making the mistakes we made. For example, we kept looking for an underground subway when what we really wanted was to catch a red above ground Metrobus. We wasted a lot of time there. You can buy a card at any Metro subway station, the Metro at the airport, or at a machine found by the Metro bus stations. We sometimes found they were sold out of the cards, so just try a different location, or try again the next morning. You can load your card using coins or bills at any machine. Depending on what mode of transportation you're using, it will cost 5 to 7 pesos each trip. We loaded our cards with 50 pesos to start. When you go on the bus or subway or bike share, you just scan your card and it will take them out off your balance. Your remaining balance will show on the screen so you'll know how much you have left. Another cool thing is that everything is color-coded and has innovative graphics to make things easy. Lance Wyman, a New York-based graphic designer, designed icons to identify each Metro station using historical or geographical features. For example, the symbol used for the Chapultepec Metro station symbol is a grasshopper. It is the closest stop to one of our favorite places in Mexico City, Chapultepec Park. The symbol is pink because it is on line 1 of the Metro, which is the pink route. All stops on this route will have pink symbols and be shown on maps in pink. This station was identified by the Aztec ruins that were uncovered during excavations for the station. Artifacts discovered are on display at the station. The symbols pink and blue as there are 2 Metro lines leaving from the station, both the pink line 1 and the blue line 2. All cable bus stations have turquoise symbols and are shaped like a cable car. For example, this station has a symbol to represent their telecommunications antennas. Step 2. Plan your journey. The Mexican government has an outstanding website with more information about using public transportation in the city. It even gives you the history of each Metro station and how it got its name and what there is to do around that stop. I've put many links in the description to help with your journey. To plan our trips, we used a combination of Google Maps and the Move It app. We liked Google because we are used to it, but the Move It app was more accurate to help us find the bus stops and stations we needed. We found Google Maps sometimes showed the bus stops were a block or so away from where they actually were. For most trips, we checked both Move It and Google to compare. I'm going to go over our 5 favorite ways we got around Mexico City. You can't transfer from one system to another without paying again, but at only 5 or 6 pesos, you could probably jump on and off for a month and still pay less than one Uber ride. Metrobus. One of our favorite ways to get around were the Metrobuses. The Metrobuses travel in dedicated bus lanes, making them fast, which is especially satisfying when the rest of the traffic is stuck at a standstill. They cost 6 pesos and will only accept a MetroCard as payment. Our first time using one, we didn't know we needed a card, but a kind local used his card to pay for us, and we gave him our change. You can then transfer to another red Metrobus for up to 2 hours. They have 7 routes throughout the city. We usually took Metrobus Line 7, which runs along this main tourist street. They have fresh, shiny, newer double-decker buses. Just jump on anywhere, swipe your card, and get off wherever you want. Don't confuse these with the tourist hop-on, hop-off buses that go to tourist stops. I won't be talking about those in this video. The Metro buses run in the dedicated lanes and have the MB symbol on them. By the way, don't ever try to stand on the upper level, or like me, you will get in trouble. Guess what? Upstairs is for sitting only. We also took Line 1 a few times. It runs up and down this avenue. If you walk to this avenue, you will see the elevated platforms to catch the bus every few blocks. It took us to the university, which I highly recommend checking out. It was also great for getting to this market and all the great restaurants in that area. Metro. A lot of people warned us against taking the Metro, but we didn't find it much different than any of the other Metro systems we have taken in cities such as New York or Toronto. Just like other big cities, it is crowded at rush hour, and you need to keep your eye on your valuables. We felt safe and saw lots of families and single women, and even someone taking flowers to a market. If you don't have a Metro card, you can still buy a ticket from the ticket window, though we highly recommend the convenience of a Metro card. The tickets often didn't work for us, and they are not accepted anywhere but the Metro. All Metro stations are all marked with the big orange M. You swipe your Metro card as you go through the turnstiles. The only trick to using the Metro is to know the name of the last station on the line you want to take, so you can make sure you are going in the right direction. Once you know the name of the last station, follow the signs to get to that platform and then enjoy the ride. The Metro system has a color-coded map, which is helpful in navigating the different lines. There are maps inside the entrance that show the stops along the line. The trains did have some unique features. Some of the trains have rubber tires. The rubber tires make the system more efficient, quieter, and more comfortable. When I was approached by a guard, I thought I was in trouble. However, it was because I was in the line for the women-only cars. The front of the trains are for women and children only. We also quickly learned that Salida means exit, and Andenes means platforms. At first, we thought Andenes was the name of the last stop, and we thought we were lost. Now that you've watched this video, you're way ahead of where we were. Taking the Metro can actually be a great adventure. There are some really interesting things to see at many of the Metro stops. For example, at this subway stop, we saw a shrine made for a water-stained tile in the shape of the Virgin of Guadalupe. In 1997, someone discovered a water stain in the shape of the Virgin of Guadalupe on a floor tile here. Because so many people were coming to see the tile, they made a shrine for it just outside of the subway station. Can you see it? Another day, at this subway station, located in the main tourist area, we stumbled across scale models of Mexico City's main plaza. The series of models show what the plaza looked like from the time it was the ceremonial center of Mexico in 1325 all the way to the early 20th century. It was fascinating to see how it has changed over the years. Trolleybus. The trolleybus are electric streetcars attached to cables. They're quiet, smooth, clean, and are fast. The front seats are pink for women only. We love that they played music, which adds to the atmosphere. There are 9 lines, including the new elevated trolleybus, which they added in October 2022. The elevated trolleybus reduces what used to take people 60 minutes to travel to just 20 minutes. They've also added 112 murals along the stations of the new elevated trolleybus. We took the elevated trolleybus just for fun to see all of the murals. Ecobici. For short distances, like around the Roma and Condessa neighborhoods, we use the Ecobici bike system. Those neighborhoods have quiet tree-lined streets that were mostly one-way streets with dedicated bike lanes. We also used the bikes extensively on Sundays when many of the roads were closed to cars. By far one of our favorite things to do in Mexico City. Now Ecobici has stations everywhere with over 9,000 bikes. We found them very convenient to jump on and off to get where we wanted to go. You need to register an account online or by using their app, input your credit card information and then buy a pass. We bought annual passes for only 521 pesos each, which allowed us free unlimited 45-minute rides all year long. If you go over 45 minutes, a charge is added to your credit card. You can also get a day pass for only 118 pesos. The app shows how many bikes are available at every station and how many empty ports are available to return your bike. You can also enter where you want to go, and it shows you the best station to get your bike from and where to return it. And it helps you to navigate the one-way streets. Next time we visit, I will bring my bike phone holder, as it's hard to hold the phone and bike at the same time. You can then use the app or a Metro card to unlock a bike and off you go. We prefer to use a Metro card as sometimes internet is spotty and the Metro card was just easier to use than the app. Sunday bike days in Mexico City are so much fun. Every Sunday, over 50 kilometers of streets are closed to cars and filled with bikers, joggers, rollerbladers, skateboarders, pedestrians, and their dogs. There was so much excitement as people got outside to enjoy the day with others. They really go all out to make the event a lot of fun. With celebrations for events including a costume contest for Chinese New Year, a nighttime ride with movies for Valentine's Day, and even a carnival day complete with costumes and dancing. Details can be found on their very active Facebook page, which I will include a link to in the description. To further promote a healthy lifestyle, they also offer yoga and Zumba classes, and they even have free blood pressure and diabetes tests. They also had free classes on how to ride bikes and free bike mechanic stations. We saw lots of kids enjoying their lessons on how to ride a bike. There are even free bikes available. If we lived in Mexico City, this is something we can see ourselves participating in and volunteering for. Cablebus. Taking the Cablebus was our favorite experience in Mexico City, and it only cost 74 US cents. If you decide to give it a try, I guarantee it is an adventure you will never forget. Both Line 1 and Line 2 opened in the summer of 2021. It was constructed to cut the commute time in half for those living in the densely packed, hilly neighborhoods. Line 2 of Mexico City's Cablebus received the Guinness World Records certification as the longest public transportation route via cable car in the world, and is the most widely used means of transport of its kind. Along the Line 2 route, you can get the best possible view of Mexico City, and you can see a chain of extinct volcanoes, as well as neighborhoods filled with brightly colored homes. We were blown away by how you can see homes as far as the eye can see. The Mexico City metro area has a population of over 21 million, and you can get a feel for that as you glide overhead. And if the superb views aren't enough, the government hired artists to paint murals on rooftops of the homes along the line. They were incredible. What a genius idea. We also put a link to a government website that describes what you can find at each of the stations. One station is built on top of a market. We instead decided to stop at this station shown here that I can't pronounce. We walked through town exploring all the little stands where people were selling crafts, food, and pretty much anything you can think of. There are many places to eat and some great views of the city below. So, how do you take the Cablebus? To head to the Cablebus, go to the Constitution de 1917 Transit Hub. You can get there by bus, or trolley, or metro. Just follow the signs for the Cablebus. After we got off the subway, we followed the signs to the Cablebus. It was about a 10-minute walk to transfer from our subway. To get on the Cablebus, you just scan your card as you go through the gate onto the Cablebus, and it'll take 7 cents off your balance. Also, if you need a bathroom, they can be found at the Cablebus stations. The cost is 5 pesos and you can pay with your Metro card. Be courteous and do not travel during rush hour from 4 to 7 p.m. as that is when the locals are commuting to their jobs. Also, in the off hours, it will be less crowded. We highly recommend everyone takes the Cablebus when visiting Mexico City. It offers a unique way to experience the city. The views are stunning. They're apparently adding a third Cablebus to open in September 23. It will have 11 stations, span 7 miles, and cross Chapultepec Park, a park which is twice the size of Central Park in New York City, and is our favorite place. And if that isn't enough, there are even more ways to get around. They even have a women's-only bus service with 52 routes. And then there are many microbuses and combis operated by private services. There are also the RTP buses. We didn't take them during our time in Mexico City, as we were able to get everywhere we needed without them. There are also purple buses that aren't part of the MetroCard system, and you have to pay cash. We tried it once, but it was harder to figure out, and we preferred the faster ways mentioned before. Uber. As much as we prefer to use public transit, there were a couple times it just made more sense to take an Uber. For example, to and from the airport. We found the easiest way to get from the airport to our accommodation was Uber. Buses are a bit less expensive, but to avoid the hassle of lugging your luggage around, transferring, and going up and down stairs, it is just worth it to take an Uber. To get to the Roma neighborhood, for example, costs us only 200 pesos or $11 US. Now they have free Wi-Fi inside the terminal. Before you leave the luggage area, the Wi-Fi can be spotty, but once we got near gate 6, where we caught our Uber, it was great. Be sure to get to the gate before calling Uber, as it arrives in just a minute or two. To have coverage during our ride, we bought a Mexican SIM card on the upper floor of the airport at the Telcel store. See my other video if you want more information about SIM cards. If you prefer, you can also buy a ticket for a taxi ride inside of the terminal, which avoids any worry about prices. We found that the Uber was a little less expensive than the taxi. Before you leave home, be sure to download Google Maps for offline use, get the Move It app, and download the Ecobici app and create an account. So get out there and enjoy your own adventure navigating public transit in Mexico City. And don't forget to subscribe so you're notified about my next video. In the meantime, check out more cities here.